Bus routes, section 27 from the Transportation Handbook of 2019-2020. Campus arrivals and departures. For AM routes, drivers must schedule the morning route so that the bus arrives at campus by 7:20 a.m. If you are arriving too early or too late, report any time differences immediately. For PM routes, drivers must have buses ready at loading and unloading zone by 3:35 p.m. or as per your campus transportation manager in order to depart campus at 3:55 p.m. Point 1. Unauthorized stops. Any stops at convenience stores, residents, etc. are deviations from written routes and are not allowed with or without students on board. These stops are also known as ghost stops. Point 2. Routes that finish early. If a route finishes early, drivers must make themselves available to assist with other routes or school activities. Point 3. Authorized passengers. No one except IDEA personnel and students regularly assigned to a school transportation vehicle for a particular route may ride in such vehicle, unless he or she has received prior authorization from the Transportation Safety and Route Manager and Director of Transportation. Loading and unloading. Point 1. When loading and unloading, students apply a 10-foot safety zone around your bus. Point 2. Buses will be in park as long as students are in these zones. Drivers are required to use the parking brake for each stop in addition to neutral gear. Point 3. Loading and unloading lights must always be used when students are boarding and deboarding the bus. Point 4. Students are not to be crossing the road to board the bus. If they are, notify your manager that the stop needs to be changed. Point 5. Drivers must count the number of students loading at each bus stop and be sure each is accounted for before moving the bus. During the loading in the AM route, you are about to leave your bus stop and for some reason an emergency arises where a student is about to cross the road. What do you do? Point 1. Get the student's attention and give them a signal to stop. Point 2. Driver must look at their mirrors for any traffic. Point 3. Let the student know to look right and left for any traffic and give them a signal to cross quickly. Point 4. Keep an eye contact with the student at all times. Point 5. Make sure the student uses the handrail when boarding the bus. Point 6. Let student know that he and she must sit down quickly. And point 7. Advise your CTM. During your PM drop-off and you're at your bus stop, what should you look for? Point 1. That students must stay seated until the bus stops. Point 2. Students must not push or play while walking down the aisle on the bus. Point 3. Students must have their IDs ready to scan off the bus. Point 4. Parents are to be at the door to receive their child or children when bus comes to a complete stop. Point 5. Students must use handrails to avoid falls. Point 6. Students must move 10 feet away from the bus at once. Point 7. Once off the bus, make sure your students have left with their parents or that they are safely walking to their final destination. Prior to moving the school bus after loading or unloading students, drivers need to take 5 seconds to point 1. Bus drivers must monitor students as they are leaving the bus by not putting the bus into gear until driver is sure that all children are a safe distance from the bus. Point 2. Students on bus are sitting down. Point 3. Scan all mirrors for students outside of the bus. Point 4. Check crossover mirrors to check for students in front of the bus, near the front wheels, and service door area. Point 5. Next to last in sequence, glance back at the service door to look for students before actually moving the bus. Point 6. Perform mirror sweep once again before pulling out into traffic. Now note, this process must be done without mental or visual distraction. If the driver loses focus in any part of this process, it must be repeated. Drivers must look and see, staying mentally present in the task at hand to protect the students they transport. lastly, make sure to answer your questions and submit them through the Teams chat or send them to your transportation manager. Thank you.